On June 1st, our country defaults on its debt if Republicans and Democrats can't agree to raise the current $31.4 trillion debt ceiling. Here's why they're at loggerheads. Joe Biden and the Democrats want to borrow more money to pay for spending that Congress has already approved. But House Speaker Kevin McCarthy and the Republicans won't approve any deal that doesn't dramatically cut spending over the next decade to slow the long-term growth trajectory of the national debt. As of the filming of this video, there has been no movement on debt ceiling negotiations, and both sides appear to be digging in their heels. So all of this begs the question, what would happen if Democrats and Republicans failed to negotiate an agreement on the debt ceiling by June 1st? What would be the specific repercussions for the U.S. and global economies if we defaulted on our debt payments? Wall Street executives recently warned they are deeply concerned about the debt limit impasse that has markets fearful of a potential debt default. Furthermore, 18 current and former chairs and vice chairs of the Treasury Borrowing Advisory Committee sent a letter to Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen in which they said, quote, any delay in making an interest or principal payment by the Treasury would be an event of seismic proportions, not only for financial markets, but also the real economy, close quote. They also said that the current debt standoff has already raised taxpayer borrowing costs through weak Treasury auctions and high yields for short-dated Treasury bills, while rating agencies are already threatening to downgrade the U.S.'s credit rating. They further claim that any issuer whose credit relies on backing from the U.S. government, such as mortgage entities, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, municipal issuers, or Amtrak, would be dramatically affected by a U.S. government downgrade or default. In the letter, they also insisted that with a debt default, the Treasury market's role as the backbone of the entire financial system would be called into question, leaving the debt market without a benchmark pricing firm and causing investors to pull back from fixed income and equity markets. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is similarly concerned. She recently said that a failure by Congress to raise the federal debt limit would be a huge blow to the U.S. economy and weaken the dollar as the world's reserve currency. She further insisted that risking default to secure budget cuts could bring enormous harm to American households, would harm financial markets, and could jeopardize U.S. government credit ratings and undermine the U.S. currency. Yellen and other economists have long warned that a default on U.S. debt would result in millions of job losses while driving household payments on mortgages, auto loans, and credit cards higher. You won't be surprised to learn that former Comptroller General of the federal government, David M. Walker, recently weighed in on the implications of defaulting on our debt. Here's what he had to say. Quote, if the extraordinary measures are exhausted and the debt ceiling limit is reached, tough choices would have to be made, including imposing a government shutdown for all non-essential employees, delaying payments to government contractors, and cutting other federal spending. This needs to be avoided since it would impose hardships and additional long-term costs on the government and result in a loss of confidence in the federal government's ability to manage its finances. This would likely result in a downgrading of the federal government's credit rating, higher interest rates, a significant market correction, and a decline in the dollar's value, close quote. But others have speculated that if we do default on our debt, that the federal government would no longer be able to pay Social Security benefits on time. David Walker disputes this assertion. Here's what he said. Quote, that is false. Based on the latest Social Security trustees report, there are adequate bonds in its combined trust funds to pay full benefits until 2033. Since the Social Security bonds are included in the debt ceiling number, trust fund bonds could be converted to debt held by the public without increasing the total amount of debt subject to the debt ceiling, close quote. Now, in the following clip, President of the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget, Maya McGuinness, tells us what's at the root of the debt ceiling debate.
They can both describe it the way they want to, but I have a feeling that there is certainly a deal to be had. Now, your point is an excellent one, which is the real drivers of the fiscal challenges we have, Social Security and Medicare, both of which are going to be facing insolvency in just over a year. But retirement and health care programs and the lack of revenues are the big issues that we actually need to put on the table.
In other words, Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid are the real drivers of debt over time. And until you permanently shore these programs up, the debt will continue to grow and we'll continue to see the type of brinksmanship we're seeing in the current debt ceiling negotiations. In order to fix these programs and avert future debt ceiling crises, we're either going to have to dramatically increase tax rates, dramatically reduce spending, or more than likely some combination of the two. So in summary, Defaulting on the nation's debt would send seismic shocks throughout the global economy and plunge the world into a recession, if not a depression. Our country would face massive job losses, the stock market would plummet, interest rates would soar, and the U.S. dollar's position as the world's reserve currency would be weakened. So, here's to hoping that cooler heads prevail as we approach the June 1st deadline so that we avert economic calamity. If you want to learn more about how to protect your retirement savings from future tax increases due to Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, be sure to check out my tax-free toolkit. You can download it for free at taxfreetoolkit.com. If you're a financial professional and want to learn how to become a certified Power Zero advisor, head over to powerzero.com and opt into my free 3-part video series. By the way, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to drop them into the comment section below. I respond to every single one of them personally. And don't forget to click like, subscribe, and the bell so you never miss a video. This is David McKnight. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.